Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing an introduction for a Panda face palette. Anyway, okay, so basically I'm only doing years of usage this year and I film those updates quarterly, but I usually do a Panda palette, like a eyeshadow palette. I have for the last 5 years or so. But I'm not doing that this year because I'm really focusing on my years of usage, and I kind of miss having like a second update type thing to film. And I work on these anyway, so I'm like, why don't I update you? Just so I have like another thing to talk about on YouTube, because I'm very active on Instagram and I update on there, but I don't know. I just think it's fun to like have something else to talk about on YouTube. Alejandra Lissette, this is like my favorite type of video she does. She does like face palettes, and then she'll do like 2 face palettes, and then she'll mix in like singles whenever she wants to, and that's kind of like what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and jump right into it. Ooh. So first things first, I'm the realist. No, it's an Iggy reference. Anyway, first thing I'm going to be working on is my Makeup Revolution Radiance palette. I don't know if you can see because of the lighting, but... So these are the 2 shades that came in the palette. There was another highlight shade here, but this is just a Franken I'll talk about in a minute. I would like to completely finish this year. This is going to be my focus bronzer for the rest of the year, so I think it's doable to finish. I did have like this giant jar Franken, and I pressed the rest of the Franken into my old Milani compact, but this much wouldn't fit into it, so I pressed it into here, and now this is going to be my focus for the rest of the year, and I'd like to completely roll out this palette. I do have 3 backups of the Radiance palette because it's my favorite face palette, and it got discontinued and I panicked. It's a dupe for like the Hourglass ambient lighting powders, and I can't afford those, so I don't regret having backups, but it's the only thing I've ever like bought in backups like that of. But anyway, yeah, I used this a lot in the beginning of the year and really expanded the pan. If you want to see like what it looked like before this, it's all the updates are on my Instagram, like from the very beginning of like when this palette was brand new. But anyway, I'm just going to be updating from this point forward. Anyway, so I'd like to finish this. We'll finish the whole thing. But yeah, in the summer, I probably want to focus on this more, and summer's coming up, so this is going to be my focus for the next update. I haven't decided like how often I'll update this. Please leave suggestions in the comments for how often you want to see me update this. I know I'm not good enough to like have monthly updates, but maybe I will. I think I'll end up just kind of doing it whenever I feel like it, or whenever I feel like there's good enough progress, but also I'm kind of lazy. So anyway, leave me suggestions and I'll try to take those into consideration. But yeah, like I was saying, this was made of a giant jar Franken. It's got a contour powder, like a Kevyn Aucoin contour, and then like 3 different eyeshadows and some of my orange Franken powder. It's like an orange bronzer, but I don't really like orange bronzer. I like more of a... I mean, obviously bronzer is supposed to be warm toned, but honestly this is pretty neutral, which I like. I'm wearing it right now, and I like it because it's a neutral rather than being overly warm or overly cool. So I really like this shade, and I have another giant pan of it aside from this, so I just want to use this up. And then my second palette that's going to be in this project is my Makeup Revolution Ultra Contour palette. I am not in like... I'll go into details, but I'm not in a specific hurry to like finish it up this year, so that's not the goal. My goal is to finish this highlight shade this year, and then that's like really the main goal of this palette for the year. But I do naturally reach for this, so this stuff is going to expand anyway, so I might as well talk about it while we're talking. So I'll do that. I am not touching this one or this one because I'm focusing on this highlighter right now, and these are both highlighters. Oh, by the way, these other ones, I don't use as highlighters. I use it as like a finishing powder. So I just like drape it across my entire cheek area and then also onto the forehead. So it kind of like, after I've already done powder, whatever product, I put it on top. Also, I know my blush looks a little strong right now. I did just do my makeup recently, so it's pretty fresh and it'll fade. So I know I look a little cray. But anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah, I recently had pan in this shade. So anyway, I'm excited to just see pan expansion, but my main goal is to finish the highlight shade. I will probably have to these are my only powder contours. So once I use these up, I'm gonna have to like buy a new one of these because it's only like a $10 palette or whatever, and it's just like really good quality, and I like all the shades in it aside from like this one. So yeah. Oh, by the way, this isn't original to the palette. It originally came with like 2 matte cream and yellow like setting powders, but those are elsewhere. Anyway, there's all that for that. And then I do have a blush palette, but my single blushes are older, so I'd prefer to use those up first. So I know this is Pan That Face palette, but I'm including blushes just because they're older, and I wanted to like have the products in this that would make up a face palette. So basically the bronzer, the highlight, the finishing powder, and blush. So sorry if you're upset that this isn't in palette form, but anyway, this is my current focus blush. It's a Franken blush, obviously, that I made. And I think that by the next update I should have this finished. I don't know. I think in a month I'll have it finished. This is in the shade Frosted Plum that I created. And then I have 2 other blushes, like Franken blushes like that I want to finish, that I've worked in previous years. So like after I finish this, I am going to focus on this shade Peachy Pink, because this is my like summer blush because it's like super bright, and summer's coming, and I've been working on this for like 3 years, you know, just pretty much mostly during the summer, but I just like to finish it off this year. I don't know if that's realistic, but I think it's doable because it is pretty thin. I don't know if you can tell. It's pretty thin, and I already have pan on it, obviously. But it is pretty densely pressed, so I don't know if it's realistic. But yeah, obviously, I think this one's 100% realistic. I think this is pretty realistic if I continue to work on it after summer, but I don't know why. I think because I've been working on it for like 3 years, I kind of get tired, like 3 years every summer. I get tired of using it because it's just like, I want to work on something fresh, you know? So I'll just try to work on it as much as possible, and then once I get tired of it, I'll switch. And then this is the other shade that I've been working on for like 3-4 years. It's in the shade Light Blend. My Franken. It's very densely pressed, and then there is actually a lot of product on the sides. It's thin, but it's dense. So probably gonna take me a minute. But I will say, just in the last year, or maybe like last 3-4 months, I have switched up my blush application technique. I used to just go like straight from the compact onto my cheeks, and I found that it was making it look a little patchy and like kind of hard to blend out because it would like hit with an intense amount of color and it'd be hard to blend out. So basically what I do now is every time I like do my makeup, I have this makeup towel that I like wipe excess on and like clean my brushes on or whatever. And so what I do is I tap into the compact and then I tap it on the towel just to like get off like the majority of the clunk or whatever, and then I blend it on, and I love the way that it applies. And I honestly, I know a lot of people say that's like wasting product, but for me, if you're a panner, you know blush lasts like 5,000 years and it's so hard to use up, and I have an excessive amount of blush that will last me for the next, like if I used it traditionally like how I used to use it, it would last me for like 20 years. And so I don't mind, because it also like literally makes my application better. It's not that I'm just like wasting it to pan it, but it genuinely, I enjoy the blush more doing it that way. So yeah, so recap real quick. We want to finish this palette completely. we want to finish this highlight shade in this palette, and then I'll also update on these bottom shades. And then finish this blush. And then finish all the blushes, basically. But I don't know if that's possible. I'm feeling good about the other goals, but the blushes, we'll see. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know. Realistically, like, I could, like, once I pan this, press other blushes into it that are fragrance. But honestly, I prefer singles anyway. So I'm going to keep them as singles. But just think of it in your head as being a palette. Like, think of it like that it was in, like, holes like this. You know what I mean? So, anyway. TTYL. Thank you for listening and watching. God bless you. God bless your family. Also, I don't know the creator of this. Oh, well, it's Pan That Face palette. So, like, Amber F was the original Pan That palette girly. But I don't know. I think, like, it's just kind of, like, adopted by a lot of panners. But, yeah, Pan That Face palette. I love watching a lot of ladies do this. So, hopefully you do too. Anyway, have a great day. I'm gonna stop rambling. Goodbye.